As US media superstar Megyn Kelly and when Harry and Meghan announced their Spotify deal was cancelled after a mutual agreement to part ways earlier this month, they probably didn't expect Spotify's head of podcast innovation, Bill Simmons, to come out and slam their contribution to the project. But that's exactly what he did, with a host of famous faces following his lead in exposing the shameless Sussexes.
Wish I'd been involved in the Meghan and Harry leave Spotify negotiation. The fucking grifters. That's the podcast we should have launched with them.
I think Harry's a like, my life was so hard. Everybody's life is hard.
Yeah,
you were the prince of a goddamn country who dressed up as a Nazi, and now you're trying to come back as the Pope?
Ladies and gentlemen, I can do 12 episodes in my sleep. 12 episodes? $20 million?
And most recently, one of Hollywood's most influential talent agents, Jeremy Zimmer, the chief executive of United Talent Agency, responsible for managing the careers of Mariah Carey, Paris Hilton and Lizzo, blasted. Turns out Meghan Markle was not a great audio talent, or necessarily any kind of talent. Just because you're famous doesn't make you great at something. So with their $100 million Netflix deal now under the spotlight, the Sussexes may just be sweating over their professional futures. Megyn Kelly, goodness gracious me, it's collapsed. It's collapsed.
It's wonderful to see that there are just desserts, that these two whiny, lazy losers have outed themselves to the world. The thing that bothers me the most about all of it, and the reason I celebrate this news, is they don't want to work hard. That's been at the heart of their troubles from the beginning. That's more than half the reason they left the royal family. They didn't want to do the work. They only wanted all the accolades. They didn't want to go to the ribbon cutting ceremonies. They only wanted to wear the crown jewels. And by they, I mean her. And he's been a hot mess for a long, long time preceding her. And so now they get into what is really my business, podcasting, and realize, you know what, it's hard. It actually takes hard work. They just thought they'd be number one and they wouldn't have to do much. And it looked kind of sexy because you could be on camera or you could be on audio and people would listen to you. And they found out the hard way, you actually have to work. Yes, some talent is required, but it's the hard work that makes the difference. You know, I know you, Dan, like me, we get up early, we work all day long. It's not just the hour that you're on the air. It's not just the 2 hours that I do my show. It's all day. You have to follow the news updates. You have to follow the latest tweak in the information that you studied the morning. The morning's news may have to get thrown out because something else happens. You have to sacrifice certain times with your family and your friends and your plans. You have to prioritize your show and your news and your commitment to your audience. And only those who do that will succeed in this business. And they found out the hard way that you cannot phone it in. So that's number one. I love to see it happen when they're being outed by their own staff and their own companies as shocked by the amount of work, right?
But Megyn, that's what's really surprised me, though, right? Because you know how Hollywood works, okay? It is the fakest industry, and usually people backstab, right? So they say in public, oh, we really loved this person, but, you know, we had creative differences, whatever. But actually, with Harry and Meghan, there's like a real visceral negativity coming out, and it feels like there's been a change since the Bill Simmons comment. Is it almost like other executives, other celebrities now feel that they can be honest about Harry and Meghan too, whereas in the past they had to pretend that they liked them?
I think you're onto something there. But I also think that when they first started painting themselves as victims, and she played the race card and he played the mental health card, the natural inclination is to, whoa, okay, be careful. That could be true. I don't want to be the person who doubted that. And come, you know, who knows? Like the Hollywood instinct would be sensitive toward those allegations. Don't be the person challenging them. But they've just done it so often that even Hollywood has caught on. There was a takedown in an offshoot of New York Magazine just a few days ago that I was shocked to see. Even the left-wing publications are hitting them. I mean, we saw the Wall Street Journal piece declaring them as a couple, as a commercial couple, a total flop. And that's the right wing. But here's the left wing calling them out for they can't get anything going and no one has any interest in them, and pointing out that unless they have another chapter about the ones we really care about, the sitting royals, then they're out of tricks because we only care about them to the extent they're an offshoot of the actual royals. Her series Pearl, that got axed because no one had actual interest in it. The stories about Harry and his absolute obtuse attempts to cast himself as, I guess, the next Oprah. He wanted to interview Vladimir Putin about his childhood trauma. Dan, I can't.
Now, you've interviewed Putin, right? You've interviewed Putin. You don't interview him about his childhood trauma, do you?
Okay, all right. But the chances of Vladimir Putin talking about his childhood trauma are about the same chances of him giving up power because someone didn't like his war in Ukraine. The man doesn't operate like that. My God, what could he be thinking? Though I will say, when I interviewed him, I did squeeze in one question that went as follows. What's with all the shirtless photos? And that was a fun moment. But Harry projects
what did he say?
his own eyes. He said, I give the people what they want. But Harry only thinks we're interested in that crap because because that's his world.
Well, it's all he's got, doesn't it? It's all he's got. Blame everything on childhood trauma. That's Harry's solution. I was really fascinated, Megyn, by the rejection, the brutal rejection from Taylor Swift to Megyn. So Megyn pens her one of her calligraphy notes that she spent ages on, and Taylor doesn't even bother to respond, just gets her PR rep to say no, treating Meghan Markle as if she's any old TV interviewer or tabloid or magazine wanting to secure an interview with Taylor Swift. What's that about? And does it actually show that American celebrities care more about the royal family than they do Harry and Meghan? Because Taylor's always been very proud of having this relationship with Prince William, for example.
Well, I think that's true for sure. Her loyalty is not with the Sussexes, but she's also a kind of American royalty. I mean, we don't have royalty over here, but Taylor Swift is in a league of just a very small few. She's 10,000 times the star Meghan Markle will ever be. And so it would have been extraordinary for her to sit with somebody that beneath her. I mean, in terms of the celebrity scale, you know, we've talked before when Meghan made up her fake paparazzi scandal on the streets of New York about Taylor Swift and the number of stalking scares she's had. I know where she lives and I know what's happened there. She rises above. She doesn't go to the tabloids and report it. We only found out about a lot of these things because we actually happen to have a connection with somebody who works at her house. But the point is, there's just no comparing these two women. So, of course, Taylor Swift was not going to sit with her. But I think part of the reason Spotify is no longer interested in her and her podcast is they're going into season 2, ostensibly, when she's having this negotiation. I'll bet you anything she had all no's. Her reputation, just the feel around her has changed dramatically from before she launched season 1. I'll bet you even Serena wouldn't go back and sit with her now. She's damaged goods. People can see it, that she's tarnished her own reputation. She comes across as a whiner, and so does he. And so to associate with them is sort of an endorsement, which is why I have real questions about this whole alleged Dior partnership as well.
Yeah, fascinating stuff. Damaged goods. Megyn Kelly on Meghan Markle. And, of course, sign up to the Megyn Kelly Show on YouTube or as a podcast. Thank you so much, Megyn.
Great to see you.
We'll speak very soon.